We are the champions. We are the champions. No time for losers, 'cause we are the champions of Iceland. Yes, Volsungur, I am a football genius. God, I'm good.
Looking for trouble and fights, but you found me. No, I'm a screw up, but baby, I'm glad you're someone to rely on, someone to rely on. No, I'm a screw up, but baby, I could be someone to rely on, someone to rely on, someone to rely on.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Husavik Heroes here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well. You've had a good Christmas and are enjoying the New Year period. And today, in episode number 31, just to double check, it's been a little while. We do start season 4, and we are going to be playing some games in the Deildabikar, the League Cup, and seeing if we can win that for the third straight time in a row. And we'll also do a quick little squad update, seeing as we have now gone fully professional a little bit more than we did late on last season when we did get knocked out of the Conference League just at the end of the group stages. So if you are looking forward to today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video. And if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the content here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. But as you can see on screen, we're going to start off on the club information page. A few more trophies next to our name than we were at this stage of last season, with us picking up the top division to go alongside the Mulka and of course the Deildabikar as well. But we are now fully professional. So first things first, we're going to have a little bit of a look at the squad in terms of what our best playing 11 does look like these days. And it's quite similar to the team that you saw secure us the league title at the end of last season, which was a little while ago now, I know, but a very similar team to what took part in those games. If we go through it, you can see the only different players from that rotated team who weren't playing in Europe because of how they joined us halfway through the season, which is not going to be a thing that we can do quite as freely now with us being a professional club. What we've got is that team with Diaz at left back instead of Prada. Those two can switch out pretty comfortably, but otherwise at the moment it is the same team that secured us the league title against Shaun late in last season. I will say that Sviderski would usually be in the Carolero role for us for this season, but he is currently out injured, so that means Sakulak does come in to the midfield. And if we make our way down to the bench come second 11, you can start to see a few more of the players who did play for us in those European games last season. They're going to be squad players for us this season, but we have signed most of the players that we wanted to keep at the club. Most of the players who you will be seeing this season are on full-time contracts. There's a few players who we are looking at letting go still on part-time contracts, but we're just going to let those contracts expire and then they can leave us at the end of this season unless we can somehow get a little bit of coin for them before the end of this upcoming transfer window. But that is what our squad looks like, more or less the exact same players that we had at the end of last season. Not an overly busy period in between then and the start of this new season. But if we do go over to the transfer hub, we have done just a little bit of business just to tidy up some squad depth that we did have at the club and make sure we weren't carrying too many players. So if we get rid of the money spent, because it's not too big of a deal for us, we have signed quite a few players on free transfers. The top 5 that you can see there on screen are from South America. They are players that we picked up when those contracts expired for the leagues over there. So a couple of okay players with decent potential. With a quick look through these guys, Tony Galopan is a centre back come left back with 4-star potential, so hopefully he'll turn into something good. 18-year-old Brazilian. We've got Goncalves, who is already our second best right winger at the club, just in behind Wilson Isidore, albeit could overtake him. 18-year-old Brazilian with 4-star current ability, 5-star potential. He looks like a really good get for us, does Goncalves, who was previously at Flamengo, so that's a good pickup for us. Eduardo Jose, not in the first team mix in the under 19s, but he's a 2.5-star current ability, 4.5-star potential winger come striker. We make our way down a little bit further. Ian Carlo is on the fringes of the first team. He's like a third, second choice right back at the moment. 18 years old, from Brazil, 3-star current ability, 5-star potential. These are players who we are looking to get into the club nice and early so they do become homegrown at club when they do hit their full potential. He's coming from Atletico Mineiro. He's one of the other ones you'll probably be seeing a little bit of this season in Orlando. Jose is the other one that we picked up from Brazil, 2-star current ability, 4.5-star potential, is the centre back, come left back, come CDM, and he comes to us having spent some time at Fortaleza. So we've gone and rated some young Brazilians who were released from their contracts. And the other player we signed, I thought this guy would be a bit better than what he is. That is Ido Aaron Sigurjonsson. He is from Vesmanasia. He looked like a 4-star current ability centre back when we got him on a free transfer last season, but it turns out he's not actually that good as the 34-year-old who is Icelandic with the 1 cap, but you can see his current ability has decreased quite substantially compared to how we rated him when we made that signing about halfway through last season. So a bit of a dud there, but he is only signed until the end of this season. He can be a backup player should we need him, and we can let him go at the end of this season as he is on a part-time contract. So that's the saving grace with that one. We have had a little bit of a mare with signing this guy, but he is only on a part-time contract and only until the end of the season. It's not going to hurt us too much, apart from the £400 per week. In terms of players that we have let go, Poles, Paprasicki, and Zysek all left the Polish trio. 2 of them on free transfers. We let go of Zysek for £4,500, but with Goncalves coming in, it did feel like we were carrying one too many right wingers, and unfortunately the casualty of that is a bit of a favourite from the last few seasons in Vukan Dordovic compared to what we now currently have at the club. He was the 3rd choice right winger, then Goncalves came in and he dropped back to 4th choice, so we have let Dordovic go back to his home nation of Serbia. He has left for £7,500, so we've made a little bit of money from this transfer window. Not that we really need to. We've used a lot of our budget just to sign players, and that's really where most of the money has gone. If we go over and have a look at the scouting page, you can see we've still got £1.8 million transfer budget left, but the wage budget is £1,650 a week, which isn't too bad. But if we click on that, I can't move it anymore towards the wage size. So we might be able to bring in a player for a decent fee, but we'll wait until the right one shows up before the start of the league season proper. But the squad going into this season is very, very similar to the one that we did have late last season. A few sales, the odd little addition of a young Brazilian, which is never a bad thing. And really, it's a pretty similar team to what was lining up late on last season in the league games before we wrapped that up. So that is a look at the squad going into season 4. As I said, of course, there are going to be European players who are going to be released halfway through this season, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult for us just to bring a heap in this time around because, of course, we are going to have to pay them wages. We can't get players in on amateur contracts anymore now that we are fully professional. So if we do sign someone to the club, they are going to have to be pretty good, almost be an immediate first team player. And of course, we have to pay their wages. So that's going to make that a little bit more difficult. We might target some young guys, get them in the under-19s and see if we can get them homegrown at club before they really start stepping up to the first team. So that's the plan, I suppose, in terms of how we're going to be dealing with that situation, which we've done the last few seasons now that we are a fully professional club. But we have started the season here in Iceland. We'll get rid of all these friendlies and we'll show you what has been happening in the Deildabikar. Of course, that is the season opener here in Iceland, and we're going to wrap it up in one episode today. It might be one game, it might be 2. We were drawn in Group A, and as you can see, we had a pretty good run in that group. 4 wins and then a draw away at Hafnarfjordur. That was a decider. If Hafnarfjordur beat us here, we would have actually missed out on topping our group, and we would not have made our way through to the knockouts of the Deildabikar, the League Cup that we are looking to win for the 3rd time in a row. But luckily, with that draw over Hafnarfjordur, we did hold on to that 3-point gap over them and poor. So we have made our way through to the semi-finals, and we're going to be playing Shaun in today's episode, the team that we did beat late on last season to secure the league title in the top division. They are now down in the 2nd division of Iceland, the 1 Deald. This is a game we really should be winning, and off the back of that, we will hopefully be playing the winner of Nats or Leknir Reykjavik. You would back Nats there, but we have seen in this competition before, the top division teams often get tripped up by the teams down in the 1 Deald. So we need to be on our toes here against Shaun, but based on what we did against these guys last season, this is a game that we really should be winning, and hopefully we can lift the Deildabikar for the 3rd time in a row. At the end of today's episode, a quick update on the injuries. We do have a few. This has been something that's been happening quite a bit more frequently since we have turned professional. Most players are fit and available to play. The only player who we would be starting in this game, who is not available, is Swiderski, a broken collarbone, out for 1 to 4 days. Hopefully, he's going to be back in time for the final. But as I said before, that does mean that Sekularek is going to start in the Caralero role. But apart from that, it is our strongest team. It's a team who really should be getting the job done against the team down in the second tier of Iceland. And we'll come back shortly for the first game of Season 4 here of Husavik Heroes, the Deildabikar semi-final from the Husavik Heroes. 18 minutes gone and we have the first highlight of the semi-final. A throw to us, Diaz takes it. It's been a pretty quiet game so far. Not many shots from either team, but slightly edging things, and hopefully we can make the most of it. Nice ball, far post there though for Wilson. Isidore on the right winger buries that in the top right corner past the goalkeeper at his near post. Nicolusi Caviglia, who is now the best player at the club alongside Pedro. He puts the ball in there nicely. Isidore well onside, just too much pace, and that is nice to see him scoring goals. Makes the loss of Dordovic, even though it was pretty well justified considering the quality of player that we do have here at the club these days. It does just reassure that we've done the right thing there. A good goal, and after 18 minutes, it is Volsungur 1, Shaun 0. 24 minutes gone here, and we have another highlight. Long throw there from Bamba back for Bjarkason. Gets that back out for Bamba, and we look to make it 2-0. About halfway through the first half. Not many highlights so far, but when we have seen them, we have looked quite good. Nice ball there for Pedro, and he gets his 6th goal of the season already. He has been tearing up the Deildabikar so far, and Bjarkason, the Icelandic winger, slots him through nicely there, and we go 2-0 up. As I said, about halfway through the half, it was the long throw from Bamba which got that start. We've put the long throws in, which seem to be a little bit more effective in FM22 than they were in FM21 in the late part anyway, and we're looking pretty comfortable so far in this game against the team from the division below us after they got relegated last season. 2-0 up over Shaun. And very shortly off the back of making it 2-0, we have yet another highlight, although Isidore does give the ball away, although they clear it deeply out to Mbiamba, who's got a little bit of a niggle, but he has been recommended to play for it, so we should be all right. Ball over there for Pedro, hits the post, it falls back to Isidore, and it's just going our way inside these last 8 minutes, and we make it 3-0 after just staying a little bit slowly in this game. We have kicked into gear. Pedro probably could have just squared that for Isidore. Mbiamba plays the ball over the top. Pedro completely unmarked. Isidore in a ton of space. Pedro took the shot on himself. Luckily, came off the post and went straight to Isidore. Really sloppy at the back there from Shaun. And we are cruising here, 3-0 up at the half-hour mark. 32 minutes gone here. We have another highlight in short space. A throw on Diaz, as you can see, not quite as good as the long throws as Bamba is on the right-hand side. Isidore shot comes off the post, looking for his hat-trick inside the first half, and it does remain 3-0, 10 minutes shy of half-time. And that is half-time in this Deildabikar semi-final, and we are looking very comfortable with the semi-new look first 11, a team that you haven't seen too much on camera, but they are doing a pretty similar job to what they did against these guys at the end of last season. 3-0 up. We are very happy with how things are going, so we'll make no changes, and we should, after this next 45 minutes, be making our way through to a Deildabikar final to try and make it 3 in a row. 54 minutes gone, first highlight of the second half. It does start with a goal kick to us, and we get that out to Diaz on the left-hand side, one of the few survivors from the team who were playing in the Conference League late last season. We'll bring you an update after, hopefully, the final of this competition, because there has been a little bit of interesting stuff going on in that competition just around the time that this Deildabikar did start, because that's when it restarted the Conference League after we got knocked out. But a nice ball there for Isidore. Pedro, and Isidore is having an absolute blinder on the right-hand side. Pedro gets his second of the game to go alongside Isidore's double, and we are up 4-0, and it's looking oh so easy for us here against the team in the division below, which is what you would expect from a team like ours, of course, who are in Champions League qualifiers this season. That's going to be exciting around mid-July, but we go 4-0 up fairly early in the second half, and we're going to make a substitution here. I think it would be just a little bit smart if we took Mbiamba off with that little bit of a orange injury that he does have. Just make sure he does recover in time for the final. Our only centre-back cover on the bench is Raul Prada. More of a left-back, but he can play centre-back, so we'll try him there just while we do make sure Mbiamba can get through to that final, but looking very comfortable, 4-0 up with 35 minutes left to play of the semi-final. 58 minutes gone, and we have yet another highlight, a throw-in on the left-hand side, which of course we do take short. Well, Pedro back for Biakis on out to Isidore on the right-hand side. He is looking for a hat-trick. Hopefully he can get it soon. We might be able to arrest him for the final, and then it's Pedro with a header back for Nicolucci Caviglia. Those three, Isidore, Pedro, and Caviglia, are absolutely dominating Shaun out there, and Nicolucci gets a goal to go alongside his couple of assists in this game so far, and we make it 5-0, just shy of the hour mark. Really good header back there from Pedro this time. Does see the teammate in open space. Not the most powerful shot, but just gets the placement on it. Does the Italian midfielder, and we make it 5-0, just shy of the hour mark. And we have yet another highlight here from the kickoff, albeit this time it is Shaun as they look to get some sort of credibility about the scoreline, but we are dominating them so far, which, as I said earlier, is what you would expect from a team like ours these days. Looks like this team is going to only be even more powerful than it was last season now that we are professional. Luckily, we had the big transfer budget and the wage budget from that Conference League run last season, and that has meant that we can afford to keep all the players that we have wanted to, although we do concede a goal right before the hour mark. Johnson, it was a bit soft, that one. That might be Raul Prada at the back, who's just not quite used to playing centre back. He just gets in behind our defence a little bit too easily. Not too sure who's at fault there of our centre backs, but it's a little bit of a soft goal to concede. They get a consolation one, albeit still a little bit of time left in this game, but it's 5-1 with 27 minutes left to play, and we are going to make a substitution at this time. A few of our players up front are on red hearts. 2 of them are on hat tricks though, so I think we'll leave those guys on, but Bjarkison can come off. Leadson, who is going to be trained at the club in only a few months, he can come on out on that left wing. 2 subs down, 5-1 up with 26 minutes left to play. Now up to the 67-minute mark now, time for our last substitution. We have Caviglia down to a red heart. He is very important to that midfield, I think, so Lilamosa can come on for him, our last substitution. 5-1 up with 23 to go. 75 minutes gone. Shaun were on the attack there, but we get the ball back. We have slowed the tempo down because we are on a few red hearts there. Some of our boys, the group stage of this competition is quite helter-skelter. We're just going to make sure that we don't suffer any injuries. Try our best anyway to make sure that's not the case and make sure we get through to the final with everyone fresh. And it's Isidore with yet another assist. Heads that through, and Sakularak gets a goal. It might be his first, maybe his second. Didn't quite catch that before, but we make it 6-1, and it's very easy. Pedro for Isidore. Sakularak just has too much pace there for the Shaun defence. Just slots that away inside the far post, left-hand side of goal. And we are 6-1 up in the semi-final with 14 minutes left to play. And that is full time in the semi-final. Indeed, we have 2 games in today's episode, as expected, against the team that did get relegated last season, and the team that we did beat quite comfortably to lift the top division title here in Iceland. We really did punish them. It was probably our best performance of the season so far, as you would have seen from those results earlier in the group stage. We weren't winning games by that much, despite being quite dominant in them, so that does bode well for the final coming up. And we'll just go forward a little bit further off the back of this press conference and see who we will get in the final off the back of this. As you can see there, that it was actually a 0-0 draw in the other game, so we're going to have to wait and see who won the penalty shootout, and it is Lechnia Reykjavik from the One Deal. So we're going to be taking on another team from the division below us. These guys might be a little bit stronger than Shaun though, and we will come back shortly for the Deildabikar final and see if we can make it 3 times in a row here at Volsungur for the Icelandic League Cup. And we do have TV coverage for this final at our home ground. We have put out exactly the same team. Unfortunately, Spadurski not quite fit enough after that injury. We have actually been a bit fortunate with the team that we can put out for this final. It did get delayed and was happening during an international break, so we could have been missing a few more players for this one. Luckily, we are not, so it is the same starting 11 as the semi-final, and hopefully we can make it 3 in a row here against Lechnia Reykjavik. And 7 minutes gone here, we are going to have an early free kick, a yellow card picked up there by one of the Lechnia players. Now, centre-back Corbo with the free kick. He tries to put that top right corner, comes crashing off the upright, and it does remain 0-0 nice and early, albeit we go down the other end now, and it is a throw-in to Lekner Reykjavik in the blue and red stripes. And a nice ball there for Karashvili, and a good save there from Sarah Fellini at his near post. So a good chance now from either team. So this game might be a lot closer than the Shaun semi-final based on what we've seen so far. We do deal with the corner. An interesting little slide tackle there from Pedro, but a chance at either end. It remains 0-0. 44 minutes gone, so we have to wait a little bit longer for the next highlight of this game. Nicolosi Isidore at the far post, and another far post goal from Wilson Isidore, who has turned it on in today's episode, albeit was only on a 6.4 rating up until then, so it might have saved them being substituted at half-time for Goncalves, but it's a good header into that bottom right corner, and another assist there to Nicolosi. Those two, as I said, alongside Pedro, are really the engine of this team these days, and we do go 1-0 up just before half-time, albeit much like earlier in the game. It is another highlight here for Lekner Reykjavik, and what a goal that is from Arni Alvar Arnason, and that's a little bit frustrating. Just after going up, we can see one right down the other end, albeit it's a really good individual goal. This one, Bamba probably should have shut him down, at a few chances to do it, but Arnason gets beyond his man and just lashes that top right corner. It is a really nice goal, and after going 1-0 up just before half-time, it is going to be 1-1 as we head into the sheds in this League Cup final. And you look at the stats, and it's hard to argue that we don't deserve to be behind in this game, truth be told. So we're a little bit fortunate. It has not been a good performance from us so far in this game. So we are going to have to give the boys a little bit of a rev up at halftime and see if they can respond as we do try and make it 3 Deildabikars in a row. We'll fresh the arms, tell them we're far from pleased. We'll make no changes just yet. We'll see how they respond to this team talk, but it's still all square at halftime in the final. 48 minutes gone, and we have another early free kick here in the second half. This time Diaz to take it, and he nearly puts that in the top right corner as well. Just goes wide, and it remains 1-1. 53 minutes gone, and Lekner Reykjavik have a corner. We do deal with it, but they do get possession back from that clearance, and Karashvili, who's looked quite dangerous down that right-hand side, puts the ball in. Bamba deals with it, but yet again, Lekner are going to hold possession. Arnason, who got that really good goal to level things up right before half-time. He is in position. They are holding the ball well here at the moment. Hopefully we can get on the end of this, because it looks like quite a dangerous highlight. It has to be said, and they hold the ball quite nicely. We are pressing them though, just pushing them backwards ever so slightly, but Sigurdsson makes his way down the right, puts the ball in, headed away by Korba, and this could be our chance. Bjarkason starts to make his way forward, just held up there. Diaz just holding the ball up on the left-hand side. Back for Bonnet, puts that in for Nicolosi. Really nice ball there for Pedro, and he slots away for his 8th goal of the season. Nicolosi Caviglia with yet another assist, and we have got the lead in this game 10 minutes into the second half, and hopefully this second half is going to be a lot better than that first half was, because we were pretty lackluster despite taking the lead in that half. Looks like we might start this one off a little bit better. Hopefully we can keep it up 2-1 up 10 minutes into the second half. And in fact, we have a highlight straight from the restart. Hopefully we aren't going to concede yet again, because that would be concerning. Hopefully we can get the ball back and maybe make it 3-1 down the other end. Long ball over the top, and Mbiyamba wins the header. He has been quite good returning from injury, albeit that's a good slide tackle there from one of the Lekner Reykjavik players, and they are on the attack. Nice short passing as they look to drive forward, and they get that out to Sigurdsson on the right side. Arnason, the goal scorer, I believe that is. Back out to Sigurdsson, or at least they tried to, but Diaz does get the intercept, and hopefully we can get something going here on the counter attack. And we do have numbers. Isidore Zakularak, what can he do? Back out to Isidore down the right-hand side. Can he get an assist to go alongside his goal? Bonnet out to Bamba, who's just going okay so far, but puts one in the mixer for Nicolosi Caviglia, and he gets yet another goal in today's episode. That one pretty fortunate. The goalkeeper, Masni, really should have kept that out of the net. It was straight at him, but it burst through his hands. Bamba might stay on the pitch after that one, because he was a prime suspect to get substituted. That's really poor from Masni in goal, a player who we did have on trial here, just didn't quite look up to the standard, and we go 3-1 up, just shy of the hour mark in the final. Up to the 69-minute mark, I think it's a nice time to make our first substitution of this game. I think we've got it fairly well under control, so we'll take Nicolosi Caviglia off. Do not want him getting injured for the league part of the season. Lorenzo Gavioli can come on for him. 20 minutes left, 2 subs left, 2 goals up. 78 minutes gone, and we do have a free kick as we really look to put the hammer down in this game. Nice ball for Pedro, he puts it wide. That was a good chance to really seal it. 3-1 with 10 to go. If it was 4-1, I think that would be curtains. We'll praise the boys though, because much better second half than the first half. Yet again, we're going to take Bjarkason off for Ledson with 10 minutes left to play in this final 3-1 up. And up to the 82-minute mark now, time for us to make our last substitution. A few players on red hearts, but the one who looks to be struggling the most, albeit 6.9. Not a terrible rating, but Leandro Diaz, Raul Prada can come on for him. Pretty similar rating ability-wise. And that will be our last substitution, 3-1 up in the final as we look to make it a hat-trick in this competition with 7 minutes left to play. Up to the 87-minute mark, and we do have a late highlight in this game. A long throw, and Sakularak gets his head on the end of that. Another player who gets another goal in today's episode, and that is going to seal it at 4-1 with 2 minutes left. Prada coming on the left-hand side, because I wasn't expecting a long throw from there, so obviously that's another string to his bow compared to Diaz. That might be something to consider in that left-back situation this upcoming season. Another string that he might have over Diaz out there, so that could give him the ever so slight edge. But in the end, after a pretty rough first half in that game, we do improve quite considerably in the second half and make it 4-1 at home against Leiknir Reykjavik. And for the third season in a row here in Iceland, we are the League Cup champions, the Deildabikar champions. It's a competition the board don't care too much about, truth be told, these days. We don't care about it that much either. There's some much bigger competitions we'd rather do well in, but with where it falls and the fact that we are not in the Conference League at this time of the year, we may as well have concentrated on it, and it does bode well for the somewhat new look team that we do have here at Volsungur, that they should do quite well for us in the league this upcoming season, which is quite important because the board's expectations, now that we have turned professional, are that we do finish inside the top 2 places. So they've gone from wanting us to avoid relegation to being one of the top 2 teams in that league, which we should be able to do, but it's a big old jump in expectations, but a much better second half from us there, and we make it 3 Deildabikars in a row after being Leiknir Reykjavik 4-1 in the final. And back in the inbox after wrapping up the League Cup, in today's episode we win it for the 3rd season in a row. As I said, a little bit scrappy that one against teams from the division below us, at least in the final anyway, but in the end a pretty comprehensive win, 4-1 and 4, that we pick up £14,000, which isn't bad, but not much money compared to what we're dealing with these days if we can get on a good run, potentially in the Champions League, but more likely in one of the lower competitions in Europe this upcoming season. But a good way to start this season off, picking up that League Cup for the 3rd time in a row after that final was postponed a little bit, which did probably help us with the international break that was going on when it was first originally scheduled. In terms of what's happened in between now and then, we've done one more transfer which might be of interest to you guys. Bjarki Baldursson, our good centre-back from the first couple of seasons of the save. Unfortunately, ability-wise, he has decreased quite badly compared to what we have in the squad these days, so he has gone to Plotto Reykjavik for a measly £500. He was another player who was off contract at the end of the season, so we just got a little bit of cash for him while we could, but he was very good for us, much like Dordovic when he was here for his 3 seasons at the club, especially those first 2 seasons. He was very good for us, getting us up to the top tier in Iceland. So a little bit sad to see him go, but he's done a good job to get us to where we are now, as has Dordovic, who was a very good right winger for us in the 2 seasons that he was playing for us mainly as well. So 2 players who have left us just because we couldn't really afford to keep them here, but 2 really important players who did help us get to where we are at the moment as we look to just establish ourselves as the best team in Iceland before we start to really stock talent here at Volsungur and look to help build the Icelandic nation overall as we head into this Build a Nation challenge. And also, as I mentioned during that last game, have a quick look at the Conference League as well, because what you will see if we make our way through 2 fixtures and results and we go back a little bit back to the first knockout round, second league, you can see if we make our way down to the bottom that Motherwell actually got past Midtjylland in their tie. So the team who only just scraped through ahead of us thanks to head, they actually made their way through to the second knockout round. Eintracht Frankfurt still on for making it 3 from 3 in the Conference League after defeating Leeds. But if we make our way forward a little bit further, after the second leg, Eintracht Frankfurt have been knocked out by Copenhagen. So that's an interesting result. Frankfurt are not on for a three-peat. Motherwell got knocked out 5-2 on aggregate by Genk, so they're no longer in the competition. But Napoli, who topped our group extremely comfortably, make their way through 4-1 after beating Sporting of Portugal. So that's a little bit of an update on the Conference League, where it's picked up from after we got knocked out of it at the end of last season. But that's going to do it for today's episode. I'm not too sure when the next one is going to be, just with it still being kind of holiday time here in New Zealand. We'll get back to the normal sort of schedule around the 10th of January, but I'll try and get videos out in between now and then as much as I can. But in terms of what we'll come back for, it's probably going to depend on how regularly I can record and when I can get my next recording done. We've got the Icelandic Super Cup coming up in just a week or so in game against Fjolnir, another team from the division below us, so that should be somewhat winnable for us there. Hopefully we can win that for the second season in a row, and we kick off the league season in May. That will be the focus for the first 2 months of the season, and from there in July is when we will have our Champions League qualifiers. So not too sure exactly what we're going to come back for in the next episode. It could be a league game in May or June, or if there's a little bit of time in between now and the next episode that I can get out, we might just jump straight into the Champions League qualifiers and get through this season kind of as quickly as we can, so that we can keep progressing this save and try and get ourselves closer to getting Iceland up towards the top of those European coefficients and making it one of the better leagues in Europe, which hopefully that past season that we did have in the Conference League through reaching the group stage will do, as we showed you guys at the end of last season. I think we're going to have a good little jump going into the start of the next European season. But if you did enjoy today's episode, starting season 4 off with our third Deildabikar in a row, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well, especially at the moment where the uploads are a little bit more infrequent than usual. But until the next time I see you, where we're going to be playing some sort of league or Champions League qualifier game, as I said, depends on how much time there is in between now and then, and also there might be a few more transfers by then as well. We'll see what happens with that 1.8 million that we do have in the bank. But until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
So